Hi, my name's Daryl Petherick. I'm the chairman of North Shore United Football Club, and I'm here today to have a look at Stanley Bay and talk about some of the field problems we've got as a club in the playing conditions that we've got to put up with. It's late May, and like I said, I'm at Stanley Bay and the field's closed now. It's absolutely atrocious, the conditions here, and it's like so many more of the other grounds we've got to put up with on the peninsula. It's a soil-based field. It's got full lush kikuyu. It looks great from a distance, but as you walk across the ground, you just can't get your help but get your feet soaking wet. It turns to mud very quickly as soon as you have kids playing sport on it, and quite frankly, it's not suitable as a ground for any winter sport in any code. The result of this is that we're having to have some of our teams of all ages, right from juniors up to seniors, playing away games at places like Northcote, Mairangi Bay, and all the way as far as Albany, which of course doesn't help with the Lake Road traffic in our area. It doesn't create a home environment for our club when we've got to travel all that way for home games. So there's been a group of us together for around about 5 years now that have been fighting to try and get money spent on our grounds in the peninsula, and it's taken, the problem started 5 years ago, so we're already 5 years behind the times. The club's up to 1,000 playing members now, and we just can't cope. We're busting at the seams and we just don't have the space for them all. One person has previously suggested that maybe we should cap the numbers in the club, but I really struggle with that. How can we tell any child that they can't play football? We're the largest sports club between here and Milford with those numbers, and we really are desperate to try and improve the situation. So we're at Bayswater Park. It's Tuesday afternoon. School's just been let out, and this park's about to be invaded by a throng of kids to start training on another evening of football. Training here starts for us at about 4 PM and finishes with the seniors at about 8:30. Interestingly enough, about 50% or over 50% of our members, playing numbers, live south of here, between here and Devonport, so the vast majority travel up Lake Road to come to this park between Monday and Thursdays to train. We've got 9 senior teams, a really strong number of youth teams, and we've also got all of the kids from the age of juniors, from the age of 9 upwards, who train at Bayswater Park and rely on this park. It's a sand-based couch grass field. It was renovated around about 2 years ago, and that renovation was brought forward because of the volume of football that we were throwing at the park. That was only ever a maintenance program. It wasn't enough to increase the hours or the use here. The problem is, this is not only a training field for us, also a playing match day field, so of course a deterioration affects what happens on a Saturday for us. When we have a look at the surface behind me, just remember that this is only 8 weeks into the season, so we're not even halfway at this stage, and already you can see signs of wear and tear on the field. In the last 10 days we've only had 14 millimetres of rain, and in fact in the last 7 days we've only had 3 millimetres of rain. And while this field looks pretty good as far as the dampness is concerned, it's nothing like what Stanley Bay looks like we saw a little while ago. But this is a modern ground, it's well drained, and it's just not coping with the capacity that we're throwing at it. There's lots of facts and figures when it comes to the council looking at funding parks and upgrading the parks, and the priorities with spending money on sports fields. But so there should be when we're discussing significant capital expenditure with public money on this type of thing. But a standout fact in this conversation really is what's happening in our community board area, and that stretches from Mairangi Bay down to the southern tip of Devonport. Just remember that we recognised this problem around about 5 years ago, when we had only 600 playing members in the club. There's been money spent on Greville Reserve up in Mairangi Bay, Wairau Intermediate, there's planned upgrades at Sunnynook Reserve, Beecroft Park, and also Barry's Point Reserve. But in that time, no money's been spent on increasing the playing hours by upgrading fields in our local area on the peninsula. So hopefully I've outlined some of the problems that we face in the football club and within the community, particularly with football. But let's have a look at the solution. Steve Browning, Don Roberts, myself, and a few others over recent years have worked really hard to try and come up with proposed ideas This idea we've got to is supported by council. It's considering all the factors that we've got involved, and we really hope it's time to start pushing forward and producing that solution. So here we are at Allen Hill Stadium, the home of North Shore United Football Club, the oldest football club in New Zealand. The ground's been here since around about the 1970s. It was put together essentially by a group of stoic club members who got out here literally with their rakes, picks, shovels, tractors, and built this ground on their own, turning it from what was a brick manufacturing area to the football ground that's here today. North Shore United's a community club. Like I told you about earlier about the number of people we've got playing here, but we're all about the community. We've got kids ranging from 3 to 4 years old right through to over 45s playing here. The ground consists of the full main pitch behind me here and a small training area over on my right. We have a first team at North Shore. We get 250 to 300 spectators in a home game here at Allen Hill. So the development of Allen Hill and the overall ground development is all about hours of play and the hours that we can get on any particular ground anywhere. Here at Allen Hill we're using it for around about 12 to 15 hours a week, and that's it. We can't physically cope with any more of this time. If you had a look out there now, it's starting to get a bit roughed up and it's starting to look a little bit tired already, and we're really struggling to get to the halfway point in the season. So our proposal is that we develop this ground into a hybrid surface, which is a combination of artificial and grass, which is far more natural than what full artificials are that are being put in to this point, and also developing the 3/4 area here to having a full 3/4 pitch. So we'll have one pitch full size and one 3/4 here. There's lots of ideas beyond that in development. It's about knocking down the clubhouse, proposed areas on my left here where we're talking about club rooms, but first and foremost we have to develop this ground first, because this is all about football. This is all about kids and adults playing a sport that they really enjoy. Part of the proposal is that we put lights up here so that we can use it for those 30 hours on the full pitch plus 30 hours on the 3/4 pitch at the same time, so we can train, play kids games in the afternoons or evenings as the winter closes in on us. We're nearly across the line. We've secured in the vicinity of $2 to $2.5 million in the development of this, but there's a process that we need to go through that I'll talk about shortly. So the overall development of Allen Hill is all about football and facilities. It is about playing football down here and providing enough time and space for our kids and our adults and our seniors to play football. But it's also about creating a community asset that we're really proud of, something that we can come down on a Sunday and kick a ball around with our kids and really enjoy on a casual basis. It's about opening up this ground, getting rid of some of the fences, developing the area between here and Ngataranga Village Green. It's all about a jewel in the community that we can be really proud of. So on the 10th of June, the community board are going to be attending us at Allen Hill here at Dacre Park. They'll be talking to parents and adults, kids alike, about their 3-year plan and what they see are the important things for the peninsula leading through their next 3-year strategic plan. So I urge you all to come down here on Saturday morning, the 10th of June, between 8 AM and 11 AM, and come and tell them what's important to you. Remember how bad it was when you were playing down at Stanley Bay, how tired Bayswater Park's looking, what Fort Takapuna's really like in the middle of winter, and where you're asked to play. The fact that you've got to drive up Lake Road and travel to Albany for home games, and come and voice your point of view as to what's important to you on this peninsula.